Hey, how's it going YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about the fall of the Golden State Warriors. And now what I mean by this is going to be obviously the current season that they are having and how they're currently 1-5. They're not looking like anything that we are used to be seeing with the Warriors. It looks bad for probably the past 4 or 5 years now. The bad luck that they're having and just overall what has led to the fall of the Golden State Warriors. So I'm going to be getting to all that in this video. And if you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and the subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without on too much, just get right into this video. Alright, so I don't think we can talk about the fall of the Golden State Warriors without at least talking about how they got to where they are and how they became one of the best dynasties the NBA has ever seen. Well, so let's get into it. I'm going to get from the very beginning all the way to right now, the fall of the Golden State Warriors. So obviously it all started in the 2007 draft where the 7th overall pick, they drafted Stefan Curry. Now Stefan Curry obviously was a great pick. He went on to become the greatest shooters of all time. I mean, in his first season, they were able to finish 36-46 in his rookie season. That's a much improved record than what they had the year before. Now, yes, Curry didn't have the biggest impact on his team that year, but they still finished with a better record than they did the year before. And I mean, he did have a solid rookie season, especially for the second half of that season. And then the next biggest milestone was the 2011 draft, where with the 11th overall pick, they completed the Splash Brothers, where they drafted Klay Thompson. Obviously, Klay Thompson, another one of the best shooters the league has ever seen. Now, due to the Curry being injured that year, they were only finished with a 23-43 record, so it didn't really help them out that much, at least in the very, very early stages of Klay Thompson's career. But that was mainly due to Curry's lack of playing time due to his injury, and also Klay Thompson was not a starter yet on this team. And then in the 2000 draft, they were able to add the final member of that big three that we now know of, with Draymond Green, in the second round. So now they did finish that big three of Curry, Klay, and Draymond. Now obviously all three of them will not be starting at this point, but the big three is there for the future, is now set. And they also got some key role players in this draft class, as they were able to draft Harrison Barnes and Festus Ezeli. So yeah, but not only did they have a good draft, but they also had a good 2012 offseason, as I mean, they realized that they could not have Monte Ellis and Stephen Curry in the backcourt together. They were too small, they weren't good enough on defense, and they were starting to get exposed. And the Warriors not wanting to get rid of their young player, very high upside, and Steph Curry, they ended up trading away Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut. At the time, Andrew Bogut was a very good defender and a very nice young piece to have on that roster. So I mean, it wasn't a bad trade at all. Plus, they were able to get more variety in their front court because Monte Ellis and Curry, they were just too small. You couldn't win. At least you couldn't win at a high level with them two leading your backcourt. And now the 2013 season was a very, very big one for the Golden State Warriors, as this would be the first year that we actually saw Steph Curry and Klay Thompson start for the entire year together, and that also was complemented by a very strong supporting cast and an all-around very good team that was put together by the Warriors. They were able to snag the 8th seed in the playoffs and shock the #1 seeded Denver Nuggets in the first round, and they were able to move on to the second round, where they ultimately did lose, but they did show tons of promise, making the playoffs, getting to the second round, and had a very solid team. Plus, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson played very well starting together. And I mean, it really wasn't very hard to see that, but even some in-season moves that the Warriors did make in the 2013 season were very, very big, as they were able to trade for Andre Iguodala, who was a ginormous piece of this team, especially going into the future and winning championships, and this was prime Iguodala when he was very, very good. And also some key signings that they did have was Maurice Bates and Dwayne Dedmon, and they were also hired Steve Kerr in the same offseason. So I mean, Steve Kerr, one of the better coaches in the league, and he was pretty much the mind behind this three-point first type offense. He was pretty much the creator of that. Maurice Bates was a very, very good pickup for a while, and Dwayne Dedmon was still young at the time, but a still kind of solid backup. And I mean, in just 1 year in Steve Kerr's system with Klay Thompson and Curry, they were able to go 51-31, by far the best the Warriors had been in a very, very long time, and they were one of the best built teams in the entire league, as their slogan was literally strength in numbers due to how good their bench was. But unfortunately, they fell to the Clippers in just the first round in 7 games, which was very disappointing, but they did show once again tons and tons of promise. And now we're moving on to 2014, where once again they had another very good offseason and season where they signed Shaun Livingston and Justin Holiday. Now, Shaun Livingston was a very big part of this team just to go into the future for long term and as of right now, because I mean, Shaun Livingston was a prime player at the time. He was young, he was very productive, and was one of the best bench players in the entire league, should I say. And this was also the first year that Draymond Green became a full-time starter, which meant now everybody on the big three was now a full-time starter with Curry, Klay, and Draymond, and that would go on to be one of the best big threes this league has ever seen, with unguardable shooters and a lockdown defender in Draymond. And also, I mean, they had one of the best benches in the entire league as well, as I mean, they also had one of the best starting lineups with the best bench. Their bench was led by Iguodala, Harrison Barnes, Mari Spates, Shaun Livingston. I mean, it was a very, very good built team, and maybe even one of the best teams we ever seen put together. And then obviously this year Curry won MVP and went 65-17, and when the Warriors went on to win their very first NBA Finals of this dynasty. So I mean, this was pretty much the golden age of the Warriors. This is one of the best times to be a Warriors fan, and this is really where the hype started picking up. And then in 2015, once again, they were able to just go on a very, very big deal. I mean, they signed both Kevon Looney and Draymond Green to multi-year deals, locking them up for the future. And also, they put together one of the best regular seasons we have ever seen, as they set the all-time win record at 73-9. But I mean, they went on to choke a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers in one of the best final series the league has ever seen, but you still can't take away how good they were. Steph Curry won his second back-to-back MVP. They went 73-9, and if it wasn't for a Hercules effort by LeBron James, they would have won their second finals in a row. So once again, this was still an extremely good time to be a Warriors fan, and it was just going to get better, as in 2016, they shocked the world by signing Kevin Durant. But not only did they sign Kevin Durant, who is by far the biggest name, but they signed many key role players going into the future, as they were able to sign Patrick McCaw, Ian Clark, David West, Andrew Bogut, and Zaza Pachulia. Now, not a lot of people like Zaza Pachulia, but he was still a very big part of this team for a long time. And I mean, this went on to form one of the most unfair teams this league has literally ever seen. Their starting lineup was Stefan Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green. I mean, you just could not guard this team at all, and they still had a very good bench, as they had Iguodala and Shaun Livingston, plus all the role players that they signed in that offseason, now on their bench, and it was just unfair. We never seen anything like that. And I mean, obviously they went on to win the NBA Finals once again that year. And then now in 2017, this was still a very good year to be a Warriors fan, as they signed JaVale McGee, who was a big part. They re-signed Shaun Livingston, they signed Nick Young on a one-year deal, and once again, like usual, dominated the NBA Finals. But now, this is where the actual fall really comes into place for the Golden State Warriors. So up to this point, the Warriors were model franchise, signing great role players, signing stars, still adding star talent, while developing chemistry with the already players that they had on their team. Well, now the Warriors are starting to get older, and they just were not as productive, plus they finally got bit by the injury bug. Now, the offseason did look promising, as they signed DeMarcus Cousins and re-signed Kevin Durant. But due to multiple enormous injuries in the playoffs, where Klay Thompson went down, Durant went down, and DeMarcus Cousins was only a shell of himself due to injuries, well, they went on to lose to the Raptors in the NBA Finals in a series that no one expected. I mean, they still made the finals, they were still dominating, but with Durant going out, it really put a lot of stress on Klay Thompson and Curry to carry that team. And then Klay Thompson went out as well. It was only Draymond Green and Curry had to completely carry the offensive load, and he just could not do that. There was no chance, and the Raptors, being the better team that series, won the NBA Finals. And now this is where really the entire thing just went to complete shit for the Golden State Warriors. And I mean, their 2019 offseason and season have just went off to a horrible start. They lost Shaun Livingston to retirement. They traded Andre Iguodala for pretty much literally nothing. They did a sign and trade with KD for D'Angelo Russell. They lost Quinn Cook in free agency. They lost Alfonso McKinney in free agency. They lost Giannis Jabrico in free agency. They lost Jordan Bell. They lost DeMarcus Cousins. Klay Thompson is still recovering. Curry just broke his hand, and they have literally no bench. They barely have a starting lineup at this point. They have one of the worst all-around rosters, especially with all the injuries they have, one of the worst all-around rosters in the entire NBA, and their Warriors have completely fallen off as a team, and they have, in my opinion at least, no chance of making the playoffs this season. But now, I don't think all hope is lost for the Warriors, as there is a chance that they can completely tank the season, get a high lottery pick, get a great young piece, and then Curry, Klay, and Draymond will all be healthy going into next season, plus that young piece, plus maybe some nice young role players they might bring in as well. And this Warriors team might be back in business. But this season has been atrocious for them, absolutely awful. The only win coming from the one-win Pelicans. So, I mean, just not a very good season at all. Injuries are piling up, their bench is terrible, and just overall, this team is very, very bad. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Warriors completely fell off? Do you think that I highlighted the high points and the low points of this team? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you do agree with me, do you like these type of videos as well? Do you like these more kind of in-depth, kind of long videos? Or do you like my normal videos? Comment that below as well. And like I said earlier, if you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean absolute word to me. Hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.